Welcome! We are coming to you live from Newegg Studios in Southern California. I'm Trisha Hirschberger, and this is Newegg Now.
I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell. This show comes to you every Thursday, every single Thursday, with our heads full of knowledge and our arms full of deals, or something along those lines to help you with your gaming and your tech and your PC building.
Yeah, on Newegg Now we bring you what you need to know about the latest in the PC hardware and gaming worlds. We bring on expert guests, we debut brand new products, and we have a lot of fun.
We have a lot of fun, and sometimes they even let us play some games. Like last week, we finally got to go head to head. I got sort of stomped on a little in Injustice 2. Oh,
I kicked your butt. That's what you're talking about, right?
Well, I remember it alternatively as being pretty competitive. So
it was competitive. You did a great job, Juan.
Okay, I demand comeuppance, and we're going to rematch.
Oh, okay, so you want to lose twice, is what you're saying.
Well, we'll see at the end of the show when you go downtown. I'm going to take you down.
All right.
And that's how that's going to go. So
I love that I'm talking so much smack, and watch, I'm going to lose horribly today. But no, I am game for a rematch if you are.
Excellent. Hopefully I will redeem myself. Probably not. Wait, Trisha, I'm receiving word from our producer here that we need to move on, that we don't have more time to discuss who won last week, which is really strange because I don't have an earpiece in my ear right now. But because we have to remind people about Newegg Now and the deals that we've got coming up later in the show.
We sure do. So wherever you're watching us from right now, we're going to make sure that you have that Newegg.com/Newegg Now page open so that you can see all of today's special prices. Our Newegg Now deals are live starting right now, and they last until supplies are gone or through the end of the day, today only. If you wait too long, you may have missed your chance.
And you'll want to go to that deals page and check out the products there, because we'll be talking about the deals in more detail later on. But if you see something you like Trisha said, right now, we're not going to judge. We hope that you'll keep watching us, but if you just absolutely have to go get your shopping on, just hit the associated promo code, click through that to make your purchase, and make sure you use that code to get the Newegg Now savings.
And aside from the deals and the guests, there's one more very important part of Newegg Now, and that's all of you guys out there watching. And we are here live, and we have a team that has eyes on your comments on YouTube, on Facebook, on the tweets you're sending us at Newegg using the hashtag Newegg Now. So send us your questions, any topics you would like us to discuss, or pictures showing off your build.
Show off your build.
We always love that. Your home display setup, or just your big haul of Newegg boxes is fine too. I'm sure our producers would love that.
No problems with the branding there.
But we're going to be checking on all of your stuff throughout the show.
Yeah, and we've already gotten a couple of cool ones. There's a themed build that I definitely want to show off later in the show.
Yesterday, it was really cool. Okay,
yeah,
we're going to show them all.
We've got some good stuff. Definitely. Yeah. So if you want to be a part of the show today, one more time, chat with us in the comments, wherever you're watching. Twitter's at Newegg, hashtag Newegg Now. Show us those photos, show us those videos, and stay tuned. Don't go away, because we're coming right back with EVGA. Hi, I kind of made that rhyme. Yeah?
Oh, wow.
Now, EVGA, easy for me to say, is the component business. It's one of those, like, I want to turn it into a word.
Okay.
No, that's terrible. I would far from us either, which is why we want to play nice, because their portfolio extends into motherboards, power supplies, cases.
Here to talk about cases, components, Jacob from EVGA. Welcome back, Jacob.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. Can you remind people at home what you do?
Here at EVGA, so basically anything that is related to EVGA products, I am involved in. You guys were talking about turning EVGA 4, so, you know.
I apologize on behalf of people.
It's okay.
I was just speaking way too fast.
So you're like, oh, like that, we don't like that guy now.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
So, I mean, the products are great, so, you know, however you say it.
You seem to enjoy I want to jump right in because right here, the Newegg Ninjas you guys sent over to talk about. First of all, just kind of talking us through what's in the system right here. Could you give us an overview on what EVGA is doing with these different components?
Yeah, so we can get, I think. I mean, there's an EVGA case, so we're using the DG77 case, which is a new case line board in there, using the Intel E cooler in there as well for the CPU. So that's a closed loop liquid cooler that basically you just plug it on. You don't have to fill it. And it's also using our power supply. It's a G1 Plus power supply, which is our new power supply line as well. And
Center, I do a pretty good job of showing off this EVGA.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a closer look at this case. This is part of the DG7 lineup, right? So what should people know about these cases?
Yeah, DG7 line. This one on the table here is the DG77. It's our highest. Things like RGB lighting, panels. So some have tempered glass panels. EVGA bracket included in there as well. So you can have the nice showpiece for your graphics card there.
Well, and I've found, I mean, like, it seemed that depending on how you're trying to design the airflow, keep a pretty beefy purpose of a bracket.
It varies depending on the card cooling design as well, but most importantly, it looks awesome.
In real time on the show, that LED sync feature.
Do it live.
Yeah, so one of the features that we have on some of the cases, the higher end cases, and also our CLC cooler and our graphics card is a feature called LED sync. So this is actually pretty new. We launched this a few months ago. So basically what you do is you load up EVGA Precision. EVGA Precision is our overclocking utility. It's free at evga.com/precision. You load that up, and it'll recognize the EVGA components that are installed in the machine.
Okay.
And what it allows you to do is basically sync all the lighting together.
Oh, thanks for getting the lights there.
Yeah, so,
that looks really sharp.
So basically right here, we are syncing the CLC cooler and the graphics card. On some of the cases, again, you can also sync the case lighting if it has RGB. So you can select a color. Right now it's like in rainbow mode, I think, so it just cycles. But you can select a specific color. You can also change how fast the lighting is cycling, things like that. So it gives you a quick and easy way to match all the lighting together in your RGB-enabled EVGA system because
RGB is the future.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I mean, for me, you know, like me personally, you know, everyone has their own taste with RGB lighting, but me personally, RGB lighting for me, the ability to match all the colors in my system together to whatever color I want, blue, green, or whatever, I think that is the main feature for me, at least.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, you can run the rainbow mode or the breathing mode. It has a few different.
Not going to judge.
Yeah.
I do judge people who have the like each keystroke causes a hard ripple.
Oh, that's rough.
In fact, I can't. I not, you know, I'm not. I don't suffer from seizures, but that makes me feel like.
But don't judge the rainbow wave. I rainbow wave it, and my office also doubles as my guest room, so people who stay at my house hate it. But otherwise, it's great.
Sure.
Yeah, you can also say like, you know, like, oh, I use it as an excuse, like when I die in PUBG or something, like, oh, yeah, my keyboard distracted me, so that's why I died.
RGB was totally in my eyes.
Yeah, right.
Like, I couldn't get away from it.
My bad. Well, since we're talking about cases, let's get to a few of the deals before we move on to the other stuff you have here to show us, Jacob. So let's see. Yeah, what are the deals, Juan?
Today on Newegg Now, you can get the DG86. That's a bigger case than
so it's a
the
completely
77
different line from this one. It's a big full tower. It's a big boy. Yeah.
The big boy from Jacob's mouth there. The big boy case.
Yeah, right.
Which you're probably going to want if you're a totally manly PC builder.
It's the monster truck of cases.
Yeah, I'm totally failing to like
their
Bigfoot
marketing
is a
didn't tell
monster
us to
truck.
say that.
I couldn't say. Yeah. Anyway, so the DG86, getting back on script here, $130 off, which is more than half off for this huge unique case. And now we said it's the bigger case, but what would also help set that apart from something like the 77?
Yeah. So I mean, one, obviously it is bigger, so it gives you more storage capacity for hard drives, also. More radiator, water cooling support, things like that.
Oh, nice.
But it also is actually pretty unique in a lot of other ways as well. Like it has an included temperature sensor that you can actually see the internal temperature of the chassis on the chassis itself.
That's awesome.
It has fan controls built in as well and a few other pretty unique features like that.
Very cool.
Okay,
Excellent.
cool. And then we also have discounts on the rest of the 7 series, including the DG75. Both the white and black version are $20 off as well.
And finally, the entry into the 7 line, the DG73, is also $20 off. So make sure you check out newegg.com/Newegg now, and you can pick up an awesome new EVGA case on that site. Check out those deals.
Awesome. So back to the build that we have here. That's a Z370 FTW motherboard.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through some of the features there?
Yeah, so this is the Z370 FTW motherboard. So it supports, of course, SLI support. So actually, we call it two-way SLI plus physics. And what that really means is you can run 2 cards in SLI plus a 4X PCIe card. So it can be a physics card if you want that, or it can actually be like an Intel storage device, PCIe based. And also dual BIOS support on this one as well. So you actually have 2 separate BIOSes.
So talk us through that a little bit. That's actually something I'm not very familiar with. What would be the advantage of having a second BIOS that you can?
Yeah.
Is that for like different performance modes, or?
That could be one of them. So basically, on the board, you have a physical switch that you can switch between the different BIOSes.
Okay.
BIOS 1, BIOS 2, and they are completely independent from each other. So you can have different overclock profiles on one. But the other benefit as well is, and thankfully this doesn't happen very often, but if it does, let's say you're updating your BIOS and the power goes out or something, you didn't pay your power bill, I don't know,
Gotcha.
it goes out. You know?
Too much money spent
Right,
acquiring your awesome PC builds, not enough for the electricity.
In most cases, that BIOS would need to be like reflashed to be recovered, but if you can't boot, how can you reflash the BIOS? So all you can do is, with the dual BIOS, you can flip to the secondary BIOS, and it's pretty easy to reflash the BIOS.
So it can also act as like a buffer, a safety for
like
something.
a backup. Yeah.
Very cool.
nice.
Well, speaking of motherboards, we've got a great deal on an EVGA X299 motherboard for a substantial discount. Right now, you can get $100 off. So it's not Z370 like we have here, but if you're looking to create an X299 build, you're not going to find a better deal. So make sure you check that out.
And I know this this build also, I mean, it's well camouflaged in the shroud of this case. I really like that design feature, especially for cable management.
Right.
I don't know if you got to see our episode where I brought in my Franken build, which is an old case and just cables and dust.
Bad cable management.
Bad cable management. Bad one. Bad.
Yeah, that is a sin.
But we all are so it is to the gods of PC building. We all are also running an EVGA power supply in here too. What can you tell us about the work you guys are doing for power management? Yeah,
so this is the new G1 Plus line. So if anybody is familiar with our power supply line, we have essentially 3 models. We have G1, we have G2, and we have G3. So it's kind of like good, better, best. So G1 Plus is kind of right in between the G1 and the G2. So it's actually at a really good price point for what you get. Some of the features that it has over the G1 is it has a 10-year warranty. It's also a smaller, more compact design. So it'll fit into a lot of smaller chassis as well. It's fully modular as well, and it's also more efficient overall compared to the standard G1. So yeah, it's a
now I saw something because of the smaller form factor. You guys were working on a smaller fan design.
Yeah, actually, so that's the other feature that compared to the G1. So we're using a new fan bearing on this one. It's a fluid dynamic bearing. So what it gives you is a longer overall fan lifespan and lower noise levels.
Oh, and even with the smaller actual diameter on the fan, because I know like from my history of PC building, usually you kind of want to go a bit bigger for the lower frequency sounds of however that fan moves there. But you guys are doing that now with a different bearing.
The bearing is part of it as well, but optimizing the fan curve is also a big part of the noise level. Traditionally with larger fans, you can run them at lower RPMs, but depending on the power supply design, our power supplies run relatively cool and the fan doesn't really need to spin at a crazy high level to keep it
to
cool.
move the heat out of the slide. That's really cool.
Great.
Awesome.
Well, we do, of course, have these PSUs
we
on
do.
sale as well. You can pick up the EVGA Supernova 650 G1 Plus power supply for $10 off today, and the 850-watt version for $40 off. In addition to that, with both of these power supplies, you'll also get a $10 Newegg gift card that can be used later.
So same features, the difference is the wattage. Jacob, what might be some of the targets, or why would someone choose one power supply over the other, given that difference in wattage and output?
Well, 650 watts certainly is probably good enough for most single card systems. The one thing that, if you're doing any type of SLI, definitely you want 850 watts. Yeah. Secondly, if you want to future-proof your system, maybe in the future, keep the power supply for a long time, 850 will give you a little bit more room, for future motherboards and graphics cards, which may or may not require more power as well. The other part of it actually is power supplies are most efficient at 50%, right around 50%.
I was going to ask, there seemed to be like I remember visceral debates before we had like the proper like gold, platinum ratings on power supplies for efficiency, that there was an optimal window. And overbuying, like radically overbuying a power supply in one direction was almost as bad from an efficiency standpoint as driving that power supply to its maximum all the time.
It's right around 50% utilization where they're most efficient. So if you really care about the utmost efficiency, then certainly keeping it at around 50% utilization. But even up to 80, 90, 100%, they're still very, very efficient.
I mean, way better than they used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so when someone's trying to do the rough math on reaching that window, that efficiency window, is it literally just going through on the specs and saying like, this CPU is rated at this wattage, this graphics card is rated at that?
Yeah, certainly. That's one way to do it. There's also a few different power supply calculators that people can find. EVGA actually has one at our website. I believe Newegg has one also.
Really? That's great.
For
How
calculating.
Convenient.
For calculating the power consumption of your overall system. So basically, you just fill out like what CPU you have, how many hard drives you have, what kind of graphics card you have, and it'll give you a kind of idea.
Kind of give you a window on where to go from there.
Yeah, God bless those calculators.
Math is hard.
Yeah.
Speaking of other things that put it all together for you online, I feel like one of the most common concerns people have when building a new rig is compatibility. And when we've got you covered on this episode, thankfully, because there's an incredible EVGA discount that you can get today if you want to put together your own EVGA build. Listen up.
I get all those pieces, make sure they look right, they fit together, they're going to play nice. We've got that they work together. We've got the EVGA DG73 case, along with a 6GB GTX 1060 GPU, Z370 Intel ATX motherboard, and a Supernova G1 Plus PSU for an incredible $100 off the whole package. Definitely, you're going to want to go check that out if you're thinking about upgrading, putting together your first system, or you're just looking at putting together some kind of fun little box. You get all that stuff in there, and
you want to have a good time.
It's good times. And so, and just to kind of move us along and wrap up, because you mentioned it, I definitely want to spend a little time talking about it, is a way to cool the CPU. And so in this case, what you guys sent over was the RGB-enabled CLC 240. This is an all-in-one cooler. We're selling it for $30 off today. Can you tell us a little bit about what EVGA went through in the design process for doing a closed-loop CPU system?
Sure, yeah. So today we have 3 different models with different radiator sizes. So the one that's on deal today is the 240mm radiator.
Nice. So
that can fit in a majority of recent cases. Obviously with the bigger radiator, you get better cooling. But I mean, with a closed-loop cooler like this, the best feature is the convenience.
Right.
I mean, you can plug it in, you don't have to worry about fluids, and you can get like very close to, those high-end water cooling systems that you see. You can get pretty close to some of that performance level at a lot lower cost and a lot easier.
An easier setup.
No maintenance.
Plug it all in there. And it's RGB.
And of course.
So it's already.
Gotta have the RGB.
Fantastic. Well, Jacob, thank you so very much for coming back to talk to us again, and we hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, guys.
All right, so all of you out there watching, remember to send us your photos, your questions, your tweets, your comments, your discussion. Hit Newegg, at Newegg, use that Newegg Now hashtag. We do have some builds that we're going to feature later on in the show, so some cool gear to check out to talk about. We're going to check in on that later on, but up next, we're going to be back because we've got to spend some time talking about gaming displays. It's going to be good.
Welcome back to Newegg Now. As Juan said before the break, today we are talking about displays.
Yeah, super important stuff. I mean, we talk a lot. we talk a lot.
We talk a lot.
I'm just gonna end that sentence right there. We talk a lot about, putting together your system, your really cool build, but, a super sexy PC doesn't mean a whole lot if, you can't see anything.
No, this
from,
is where you
output.
see the fruits of your effort. As with just about everything in PC building, there are so many different options when it comes to displays. Displays for editing, displays for gaming, displays focused on, I don't know, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So we've got a ton of monitors discounted today for Newegg Now. So be sure to check out the link if you are watching on YouTube or head over to newegg.com/NewEggNow. But before we get to that, let's go over some of the features that you might be looking for in a gaming display.
Definitely. So, I mean, you've probably heard, if you're watching a show like this, you've probably heard of G-Sync or FreeSync, especially if you're a gamer. This is a feature that makes a huge difference in the smoothness of your gameplay experience.
For sure. Once you experience it, it's really tough to go back.
It's super not fun to deal with screen tearing.
Yeah, so the main
really
advantage of
ugly.
these displays is that they help reduce, like Juan just said, screen tearing, which is no good.
No bueno.
Screen tearing happens when the FPS provided by a GPU outmatches the refresh rate of a monitor. So for a fraction of a second, the display shows part of the previous frame while drawing the next frame.
And screen tearing can be most pronounced when pairing a high-end GPU with an older monitor that has a slower refresh rate, like a 60 hertz monitor.
So basically, screen tearing equals no good.
That's definitely the equation to go by on this. Unfortunately, there are a number of ways to minimize this screen tearing experience. I mean, a lot of games will utilize something like vertical synchronization, or VSync. And that's a software-based solution, and it works by introducing a slight delay before each new frame is rendered, and it allows the GPU and display to sort of stay better in sync. Using a software solution for something like that, though, can be a lot more taxing on your GPU. So if you're running a lower-end system or an older system, that might not be the best option when you're trying to play modern games. So the other solution is more hardware-based, and that's where NVIDIA and AMD come into play.
So let's start by talking about AMD's FreeSync. FreeSync forces the GPU and the display to kind of negotiate a refresh rate to a frame rate ratio to get rid of screen tearing.
Yeah, I mean, a practical example would be your monitor has a 160 hertz refresh rate, but your GPU is outputting a maximum of 177 frames per second. So that results in occasional screen tears because those numbers aren't going to line up. Enabling FreeSync will force the GPU to slow down. It'll step down to 160 frames per second, which should match up with the monitor and should do a better job of eliminating any mismatched frames.
Right.
So FreeSync has a lower performance impact than other methods, especially software methods of display synchronization, and it's cheaper, which means that monitors which use FreeSync will cost less than their NVIDIA G-Sync counterparts.
By far, I find.
A lot.
Of course, to use FreeSync, you'll need a modern AMD GPU, the latest driver for that GPU, and a FreeSync compatible monitor. So we have a few FreeSync enabled monitors with discounts, like the Samsung C27HG70 for $150 off today.
So we talked about FreeSync. The counterpart to that is NVIDIA's G-Sync. Now, it's similar in that it allows the GPU and the display to communicate, but there are a few important differences in how that whole discussion happens.
Very true. So first of all, it costs a little more because G-Sync displays rely on an additional proprietary hardware module in the monitor. There's an actual chip inside the monitor that does all the heavy lifting.
And G-Sync works by having that GPU and display constantly talking, negotiating back and forth. So the GPU attempts to force the display to match its frame rate by dynamically setting the refresh rate of the monitor to match the GPU's output. However, the GPU will also wait for feedback from the display, namely that OK message to send the next frame along. So it's a little bit more complicated, the conversation between the two products, but ultimately we're still trying to get to.
Yeah, because then, boom, no more ugly screen tearing.
Huzzah.
G-Sync also provides some benefits to color vibrancy and HDR support. G-Sync requires an NVIDIA 650 Ti or higher,
Not too bad.
the appropriate driver, and a G-Sync capable monitor,
Like
like the Asus ROG PG278QR, which we have for $55 off today as a part of Newegg Now.
This is sort of the linguistic minefield of monitor names as we go through letter number combinations to try and talk about different products.
Well, but I feel like a lot of the display manufacturers, if you know how they break down their model numbers, it makes total sense.
It does. I mean, you do get to a point where it's like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing there. But again, it's still like...
It's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful. It's not the easiest thing to say. So, moving right along, my tongue-tiedness notwithstanding, we should probably also talk about refresh rate. And so the refresh rate of a monitor is measured in hertz, cycles per second. And it's a measurement of how many times per second a display can draw an entire image across the screen. So, for example, a 144 hertz monitor is rendering 144 images in a second, while an older 60 hertz monitor can only do 60.
So you can see the huge difference there when you go to a high refresh rate. And don't let anyone tell you that the human eye can't tell the difference.
It's not cinematic enough.
No,
I need more cinema.
Those people are trying to bamboozle you. And I'm going to hold on to the fact that people still use the word bamboozle.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm fine with bamboozle. We need shirts.
Standard refresh rate has been 60 hertz for a long time, but now that's changing. Now 144 hertz refresh rate monitors are increasingly common. And for those of you who need ultra accuracy, like say, I don't know, professional Rainbow Six Siege players, you can go all the way up to 240 hertz or even higher.
Crazy pants. So we've got some great deals on high refresh rate monitors like the Asus VG278Q, which has a 2560 by 1440 resolution, G-Sync, and a 165 hertz refresh rate. You can get that today for $100 off. Or if you want to go even higher, if you want to go even faster, there's the LG 27GK750F-B.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying
continue.
I'm gonna pause to say I got all the letters and numbers, Nick. I got them all.
You did a great job.
He's giving me the thumbs up. So that has a 1920 by 1080 resolution, but a whopping 240 hertz refresh rate. You can get that today for $50 off, plus another $50 gift card, which you can use later on.
Well, I mean, have you ever used a monitor with a refresh rate that high?
Yeah, I haven't gamed that high. I've got one of the sort of the early gen Asus 3D monitors.
Okay.
So that was like a big deal getting my first 140 hertz. You know, like I can't believe just how smooth everything looks. So I really need to spend some time sitting down in front of something even faster.
Yeah, I haven't seen that IRL either, with the exception of probably CES.
Yeah, I mean, like, I find like I would probably have a hard time really appreciating that until I spent some time with it and then went slower.
Right.
You know, like I would get used to it and be like, yeah, I don't see what the big deal is. And then I'd go to like 120 hertz and be like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. and be all super cranky
I've never
about it.
lived with it though.
Exactly. I feel like to really
only.
appreciate the nuance of something like that, I need to spend a little more time with it. So to move right along, we should also discuss resolution.
Let's do it.
So resolution is basically how many individual pixels are on that monitor's display. So if you have a 1920 by 1080 monitor, that means 1,920 pixels across and 1,080 pixels vertically. And generally, in a given form factor or a given display size, the more pixels you have, the higher the image clarity.
So standard resolution is still 1920 by 1080. However, many top-end monitors support higher resolutions like 4K and 2K. And 4K means 3840 by 2160 pixels. 2K is a little less well-defined, but is at least 2098 by 1080. 2560 by 1440 is also sometimes lumped in with 2K, which is a little bit confusing.
I'm going to go off script. Sorry, Nick.
I know you have a lot to say about this because we've talked about it before.
Well, it's the marketing stuff on this where we're trying to describe resolutions with really simple phrases.
Right.
And that always makes the conversation more difficult in the long run. And this has been going on since the early days of like VGA displays, where it would be some permutation of a 480p screen, 640 by 480, 720 by 480, 840 by 480. But we all called that generally standard definition. And then we went through the dark days of HD between displays and cameras with 720, 1080. Is it a progressive frame rate? Is it interlaced where it's 1080 but you only get half a frame?
I mean, don't worry about it, it's HD.
But it's all the HD, and that drives me crazy. And so then someone had to say, like, well, we have a high quality HD, which is 1920 by 1080 with a progressive frame rate, and we're going to call that FHD for full HD, but the industry still moves back and forth between calling 720p and 1080p HD, which only exacerbates the conversation when you go up to a higher resolution.
UHD
because
QHD.
QHD, capital Q, not lowercase QHD, which is half 1080p resolution, or 1/4 1080p resolution, but quad HD, which makes sense in your brain that would be 4 times HD resolution, but only if HD is defined as 720p because it's 2560 by 1440, which is 4 times 720p. So then you have to go to UHD, which is Ultra HD, and eventually that makes sense that it's 4 times 1080p, which is great, but then we use that interchangeably with the phrase 4K, even though there aren't 4,000 pixels across. It's 3820 by 2160. So then we've got to come up with a new camera standard called Cinema 4K, which is 4096 by 2160.
Angry Display One is my favorite one.
So ultimately, I really think it's easiest to just look at the numbers, because especially when you're looking through a lot of these, and especially for laptops, because we also have a vagary around 3K displays. Like I have a 3K display in my gaming laptop, but you want to just look at what the actual numbers are, and that's going to give you way better information as to what you're trying to accomplish and what the right fit for you is. And it also makes you a handier resource for your family and friends for when they're shopping a new TV or a new monitor or a new PC or something like that.
Indeed. All right, guys, so if you are looking for a high-resolution display, we'll just use the generic term high-resolution display, check out this brand new launch. It's the Acer ED347 CKR. Again with the catchy names. And it's a curved FreeSync display with a 3440 by 1440 resolution and a 21 by 9 aspect ratio. It's a beefy panel. And right now you can get it for $50 off.
And that's another thing too, is we could probably spend an entire episode talking about things like aspect ratios and content creation and what cameras you're shooting with. But we'll save that for another cranky Juan rant about not reducing your fractions for 18 by 9. That's a 2 by 1 display, guys. Make sure you check out the Newegg Now deals page, because we've got all of the monitors that we've discussed plus more that you can check out. We've got some fun deals on that. And so I think we should probably move on to response time.
Great.
And so this is how quickly a display can have a pixel change from fully active, which is white, to fully inactive, which is black, and then back to fully active. So a lower response time typically means less ghosting of the image. That's going to provide better image, better picture quality, especially with movement.
Yeah, and it's measured in milliseconds. So a 5 millisecond response time means that a monitor can go from white to black to white in 1/200th of a second. and the lower the better. So a 1 millisecond display is going to look nicer than a 5 millisecond display.
Very true. And we can also talk about curves. As you can see with this lovely display over to my right over here, what we used for our discussion with EVGA. And curved monitors are becoming more popular with gamers and I think also content creators in general, looking at the ergonomics of how you set up your workspace.
Yeah, I'm on the curved monitor hype train for sure. Curved monitors were originally invented to help with distortion issues that occur when viewing extremely wide aspect ratios. Even on smaller curved monitors like the Samsung C32H711, the curvature helps to engage the viewer's peripheral vision.
Yeah.
And speaking of the C32, that display is on sale today too for $140
What a
off.
coincidence. It's like you brought it up as a perfect example of what we're talking, and we just so happen to have this
Have a sale
on
on
the
it.
page. Like Kismet.
Crazy.
Synergy.
Yep.
So widescreen curved monitors often offer advantages in games with an adjustable field of view, which is also really handy.
The curvature of a monitor is measured by its radius. So if that monitor were a complete circle, for example, a curvature of a 3000R would have a 3000 millimeter radius. A lower number equals a more pronounced curve. So a 1500R monitor would appear more bent than an 1800R monitor. 1800R is also the most common curvature right now.
Yeah, that was a measurement that I wasn't aware of until very recently. Like, you just sort of make an assumption that all curved monitors just have some generically similar
Yeah, they all have the same standard bend to them.
Right, which, of course, in our industry, that's not true. You got to have different solutions for different options. So if you're looking for a sweet curved monitor with a bunch of the features that we were talking about here, you should check out the Viotech GN32LD. It's a 32-inch monitor, 144 hertz refresh rate, pretty quick, 1440p resolution, that Quad HD we were talking about, AMD FreeSync, and it's got an 1800R curve.
And this monster has just about everything that we've talked about, and you can get it right now for a nice $100 off. It's even got LED lights on the back for ambient lighting.
Yeah, we were talking about it, especially a couple episodes back. Like, that's becoming a bigger deal to me, especially for my rebuild, is I want some nice ambient lighting.
I bought a USB LED strip.
You did it?
Just to have the ambient lighting,
Oh,
but I don't like it because it takes up a USB.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, not cool.
You just got to build it right in. Just got to make it
I approve. I can't wait to get some more ambient lighting going on in my place without taking up a port.
So a couple more things you should know before you pull the trigger on one of these excellent deals.
As you probably know, higher resolution means you have to have a higher powered video output.
Very true.
If you want a game at 60 frames per second, and who doesn't,
doesn't?
in say 2K or 4K, you'll need a high-end GPU.
Yeah, I'm going to keep making that joke, like, you know, cinema's 24 frames per second. That's not what we want for gaming. I don't want my cinematic to be 24 frames per second.
Okay.
That's no bueno. So the more of these features you pair together, like high refresh rates, higher resolutions, the more horsepower you're going to need from your system. So you also want to be aware of the inputs that connect the monitor to your PC. If you want to really take advantage of the hardware that you're building into your desktop and investing that money into a nice display for that hardware, you want to use the display port. You want to skip the HDMI.
Yeah, also keep in mind that some displays have built-in speakers, but not all of them. So if you need audio, make sure you're covered in one way or another.
Another topic that I think I could spend an entire episode talking about is PC audio and near field monitors and making that all sound really good for your gaming experience. We got to get on that one for a future episode.
But today we're talking displays.
And that's it for displays. So make sure you check out all of the display deals on that Newegg Now page, newegg.com/NewEggNow. Let's check in on what some Newegg fans have sent in during the show. I've got some stuff up here, so I'm going to go full screen. And this actually came in at the end of the show last week. Who was this from? I've already lost my clip, but I'm going to show it off. And someone can shout out, because I really liked this build, and especially like this triple fan layout. And I like the really sweet Dutch camera angle that they sent in.
Yeah, you got to get creative with that angle.
So especially for like showing off all of the really cool piping and the futuristic layout, the great desktop wallpaper, all going hand in hand with this like purple ambient sheen thing going on.
Yeah, let me see if I can find who that was from for you.
I think it was, so I've got it here on the side. I'm going to pull up my glip. I think it was Super Dutch.
Super Dutch.
And Super Dutch, that's appropriately named because you also enjoy Dutching your camera angle for your photo shots. So that's
there you
excellent.
go.
So
Super Dutch.
this is the one that I was talking about. This looks so flippin' cool.
Fallout themed rig.
Fallout theme rig. This is from Frank Sherbert's Cone. And the time, I mean, just the attention to detail, the internal piping and cable management using those like old school like sleeves and collectors, and then just distressing the outside of the case like it's an ammo crate.
Dude, that's really cool.
So well done. The little radioactive symbol right on that front panel with the fans.
Yeah. Who's this one from again?
This is from Frank Sherbert's Cone.
Okay.
And we got this one on Twitter. Just really well done. I love the edges. I love the handles. I mean, you know, just that whole aesthetic just looks sick.
That's really, really neat.
And totally appropriate for that Fallout theme. Just so well done.
Do you have pulled up the one that we got yesterday, the his and hers?
Oh, I don't think I have that one.
That's all right. I'll see if I can find it while you talk about another one you like.
Okay. I'm gonna do one more here, and this is a battle station from MFN Cypher, and immediately digging the Matrix theme for the wallpaper.
Oh yeah.
Very sharp, very clean.
Talk about ambient lighting.
I also thought, I mean, because it was one of those photos where I looked at the actual build first, and then I noticed his reflection in the mirror. I mean, in the glass behind his window.
I didn't notice that at all. I was just looking.
And it was
at
like
the build.
it was like super creepy. So it was like I enjoy that. So very nice touch there, sneaking yourself into the shot. But but the whole work, and again, you know, this NZXT casing, the shroud that covers the power supply, all the cable management. And then I thought it was also pretty trick, his little Samsung SSD just down in the corner. Just like, hey, that's super cool. Just keeping it all nice and neat and tidy.
There.
Great color accents too. A really sort of vaporwave aesthetic, which I thought was pretty sweet.
Okay, I just clipped you an image that I saw that I really liked, which is let's see, I'll wait till you pull it up.
Oh, it
this
opened in
is a his and hers.
Oh, his and hers battle stations?
Yeah, his and hers work/gaming PC setup, and this is
that's
by JFreed7. And I just thought this was really nice. Couples that play together stay together, man.
That's super trick. And
relationship goals.
Yeah, I mean, like, and especially like the sort of different ideas, like someone going for the big TV versus someone else going for the wicked stretched curved monitor.
Yeah.
But also, gotta give them the shout out. Underneath the second one, they've got the little stationary bike. So
nice.
You can get your workout in while you're gaming.
Awesome.
And I also see that they're using the Blue Yeti, but it looks like he's got it set up properly. He's not like talking into the top of the mic.
Awesome.
So I don't have to make fun of him for improperly setting up the Blue Yeti.
No, I loved
really
this so much. It's a beautiful relationship. I mean, if they based a romance movie on it, I would watch it.
The closest Marie and I have gotten are like dueling laptops on the couch. It's just not nearly as cool.
It's closer than I've gotten.
Oh,
I have to twist an arm to get a spouse to play a console game with me.
Oh,
I know.
No,
I know.
Nate, come on.
He's one of those people that I'm like, well, okay, let's just put a toe in the water with Overcooked.
Okay.
And see how it goes. That was successful up until it got too hard, and then he rage quit and didn't want to play anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's my life. But that's okay. I play by myself.
Sorry, Nate. I can always count on Marie to at least join me in some like Super Street Fighter or something like that.
No, I got him to run some D3 with me right now.
Oh,
so we're playing Diablo 3 right now.
All right, good. That's good. That's good. One of my crack games. So we're almost at the end of the show. But there's something that has been weighing on me.
Oh.
Been a little upset. I mean, if you guys remember last week, I'm sure you all tuned in, and maybe I didn't like win.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. I was like, he already did his display rant. What is bothering him?
The marketing on displays. I did hold up the sort of victory, the mantle of beating the Joker as Batman, but you know, in a round of 3, maybe not the strongest showing.
Okay.
I mean, if you recall what went down.
I mean, I remember.
Probably. So I feel like we should probably have a rematch.
Okay. Do you want more Injustice 2?
Well, I was thinking, why not go to a game I've had even less experience with? So I can really show off my button mashing skills.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've ever heard of I believe you would say it's an anime.
Are you talking about
I'm absolutely talking about Dragon Ball Z Fighter, and I think that's what we're going to do next. So,
Okay, yeah, well, for anyone at home that hasn't played it yet, it's amazing, and here's the trailer.
We're gonna get set up.
And we're back. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Juan, do you have a specific color scheme you want to go with for your team so that
no, this is good.
we're not confused?
I'm repping Team All Humans. So,
Okay.
So like Krillin is obviously I think the most powerful human in the course of at least Dragon Ball Z. Maybe Tien's at close second, but even with Yamcha, like am I gonna play these overpowered, superpowered guys?
I mean, I will though.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not as familiar with the Dragon Ball Z universe as you are.
All
yeah.
right,
I just like fighting games.
But then also like because like I haven't really spent a lot of time with this game, but it's kind of nuts how much it looks like the show.
Yeah, I've heard that from everybody, and I have spent some time with the game, not a ton. I would say maybe an hour, but that's an hour more than you. But it does look like the show from what I remember of the show.
And we always had that problem before. You'd go through some sort of cutscene into gameplay and just how much different they'd look. This blows my mind. The actual animation and art style is so spot on. And then it's gonna go right into, oh man, I mean, this is like the dream of little Juan. See, I don't even, like, but like, you know, all of the time I spent, especially like time in college, watching shows like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Oh, come on. What was that? Come on, Krillin.
Do it!
Ah. Oh, dang it. There's so many people that are like watching me play right now, just shaking their heads in disgust.
Oh, that was not good. Come on, you're better than that. You're better than that. Oh. Yeah.
Dang it.
She says.
All right, Tien.
All right. Give me a new dude. Oh, man. Oh. I gotta start using my,
And get, no, not in my...
Oh, man. No good. No good.
Come on.
Come on. Android 18.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
Let's do one of those. Let's switch it up a little bit.
Well, Yamcha wasn't any help there.
Ah!
But really, I mean, that's kind of on point for the show, so... I'm gonna just stop jumping into your...
I'm trying to remember what the different combos are.
I'm totally gonna get like almost I'm gonna get like rocked in perfect here. I feel like any showing with Yamcha is probably
because we don't have audio right now, I'm like making my own sound effects to the game.
What? His power's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Where did that come from? Oh no!
Chase! Come on. I'm sure everyone at home is appreciating the clack, 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 clack of the fight stick.
Come on, get back, get back.
It makes me so happy, just like a clackety keyboard.
This is also another thing too. I think for the next fighting showdown, I'm gonna have to play. I need a controller. I can't.
I'd like to remind everyone that I didn't lose a single guy.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like.
What did you say, Nick? It was the refresh rate?
The refresh rate. There's way too much screen tearing going on for me to compete in a meaningful fashion here.
Oh, you did rematch with the same guys?
Yeah, I have
All
zero feel for any of this. I need to at least stick with something. Come on. It's like I can almost pull off something.
Ooh,
And
that
then,
was fancy.
Come on.
Oh, sir, I don't like it. There we go.
Dang it.
There she blows. All right, bring in the new dude. Bring it in. Bring it in. Yeah, let's do this. Juggle. All right, come on. No, sir.
Good. Oh, dang it.
Yes. Like that. That one. Not into it.
It's one of the few things I've been able to consistently pull off. So I think you're just gonna have to deal with.
With that move.
Yeah.
The one thing you figured out.
Ah.
Ha ha! No! Get out of here! Get out of my face. Get into my car.
Oh yeah, okay. We've got licensing for obscure '80s music, right, Nick? We can just.
Ooh, I don't like any of what's happening right here. Let's switch that up a little bit. Hey.
It's like I almost have like a combo I can do with him.
No!
Dang
No,
it.
I don't like it. I don't like what just happened.
Well, that's. I think you've lost sight of who you're playing, and you're still beating me. And I'm back to Yamcha.
Well,
Come on.
I'm trying to do different things.
I'm just gonna call that like I'm pretty much good.
I need to.
Because Yamcha definitely can't fight.
I don't
an
like what's
android.
happening because I'd forgotten how to switch people. That's what I was ultimately trying to do.
Come on.
What did you just
Yeah! Oh, dang it. Come on, block. Yeah, maybe sticking with Yamcha wasn't the smartest play. Oh, that.
Boom. Ha ha ha!
Come on.
No, come on, you're faster than that. You're faster than that.
That's surprising.
Android 18, what are you doing? Oh, I don't like it. Switch guy.
I think that's almost.
No, don't like it. Don't like it. Not happy about what's happening here.
Okay. What? No, and I'm dead. All right,
Got another.
so I mean, like the best of three on that isn't necessarily my strongest play. No! I used a super cool attack and I was way off.
Remember.
You just stay back. You just stay over there.
Knock that off.
Kaioken!
In your stupid face. Got it! That was closer than I wanted it to be. But we had a warm on that.
That was pretty poor show.
That was pretty.
Well,
Okay,
I
Nick
think
is saying
out of
call it
three.
there.
Nick is
that
putting
was
me out of my
fun,
misery.
huh?
I'm gonna put this back over here.
All right,
on
me
the
too.
TV.
Me too. Here, can I hand you mine?
Yeah. If you want to
Thank
get
you,
us
sir.
back on script
guys,
there.
thank you so much for watching. That was super fun. Before we sign off today's episode, let's take a quick look back at some of the deals that we've talked about since this is Newegg Now, and that's what we do. Once again, make sure that you go to that newegg.com/Newegg Now page to see all of the deals and take advantage of them before they expire.
True story. So we started off the show talking to Jacob from EVGA about the new DG7 cases and G1 Plus PSUs, and we have deals on both of those on that Newegg Now page, in addition to a really great bundle if you're looking at putting together a new system.
Yeah, and we also had deals on so many monitors. so many of them. Basically, whatever kind of displays that you want for your PC setup, you can get it today for a fantastic price.
So many deals. I mean, one might almost make the argument too many deals.
Nah.
No? Okay. So make sure you check them out. Check those deals out on newegg.com/Newegg now before they're gone, before they evaporate. And want to really thank the folks who sent in some pictures of their battle rigs, some really cool gear, guys. I'm totally stealing all of your ideas for my own rebuild. Whenever that's eventually going to get put together, who knows?
It will.
It could happen.
I believe in you. But yeah, thank you guys so much. It's so fun to have that interactivity on the show since we are live. And thanks again to Jacob from EVGA. And Juan and I will be back next week talking about how to stay healthy while playing Civilization 6 for 35 hours straight. And I really hope that I'm the test. What's it?
Just going to put someone in a chamber and make them play until they can't play
I'm going to play
anymore.
Sim 6 for 35 hours and call it work. All right, guys, this has been Newegg Now, and now you know.